The end of the last Premier League season feels a lifetime ago after a summer packed of internationals. Now the Prem is back with the planet's most popular and competitive league ready to start. And yeah, for a fourth consecutive year, Man City will become the defending champions, but with a new manager at Liverpool, newly promoted teams, can anyone challenge them? Let's get straight into our predictions. I'm going to say Man City will hold on to the title, even after selling Julian Alvarez. There won't be many better than City. They still have the deepest and most experienced squad, and they have the best manager in the world, potentially for a last time. What would be a mic drop if they could claim yet another title as well as the Champions League? If Haaland can stay a little bit healthier, don't bet against it. In second, I've gone for Arsenal again. Arsenal have been outstanding in the last few months, but they've just come up against a juggernaut that's so hard to stop. Arteta's team's better status though, and they will pose another formidable challenge to City for me. Moving on into third, and that's Liverpool. Slot has the unenviable task of replacing Klopp, who's a legend there. But the Dutchman has an elite squad at his disposal with the likes of Alisson, Van Dijk and Salah, so they can definitely challenge. With Newcastle in fourth, I've gone for moving back up. I think it could be a blessing for Newcastle not to worry about Europeans football and just focus on the league. And yeah, I think that could really allow them to thrive, a bit like when they got into the Champions League a few years ago. But moving on into Tottenham, despite losing Harry Kane to Bayern Munich, Spurs climbed up the table last year. And I think Tottenham will be stretched in this year no matter what. But with the addition of some decent players, including Archie Gray, Timo Werner, Solanke, etc., they could be in a similar position. For sixth, I've gone for Manchester United. It's hard to know what to make of them. Winning the FA Cup final, but also having such a disappointing season. But I think they've made some interesting signings, like Xerxes, De Ligt, could work. So yeah, I've got them in sixth. For seventh, I've gone Aston Villa. Last year was a season to remember for Villa. Being in the Champions League again, and they've dropped almost $50 million on Ian Maatsen and on Onana, but Douglas Luiz will be a big loss, and you wonder how Champions League could affect their prospects too. In eighth, I've gone for West Ham. The Hammers have definitely got better this summer, some really good signings added, and I think Lopetegui is an interesting appointment. I'm not totally convinced by it, but I think they've made some really good signings, like Somerville, etc. In ninth, I've gone for Palace. Palace are a different team since Oliver Glasner replace them, but losing some star players like Elise, potentially Guehi as well, could definitely hurt them. But I think there are enough signs there that they can be consistent, potentially even without those players. And in 10th, I've gone for Chelsea, perhaps the most dysfunctional club in England's top league. The Blue parted way with Mauricio Pochettino after a really good second half of the season. Maresca seems a bit of an interesting appointment. Pre-season hasn't exactly gone to plan. It could be another season of turmoil. In 11th, I've gone for Brighton. They were suddenly middle class last season, finishing 11th, even after losing Caicedo and McAllister. The biggest departure was De Zerbi. Hers is an interesting appointment at such a young age, one that could go either way, but they've had a few big money arrivals as well, so yeah, I think a mid-table finish makes sense. And for Fulham, I'd say there's stability around the team. Marco Silva staying once again, but yeah, I think they've made some interesting signings, Sessegnon, Smith Rowe, and that should be enough to consolidate a mid-table finish. Wolves in 13th, entering their 7th season on the top flight side. They can't take anything for granted. Losing Kilman's big blow, but Gary O'Neill's done a good job. I think the likes of Rodrigo Gomez, Pedro Lima could be decent signings for them. In 14th, I've gone for Everton. It will be a bittersweet season for Everton. They last at Goodison Park, but obviously lots of stuff going on off the field. They need to take over done as soon as possible, but I think it's Sean Dyche at the helm. I just don't think they'll go down. I think they've got enough in that squad, even after the likes of losing Onana. In 15th, I've gone for Bournemouth. Bournemouth, yeah, I think punching above their weight still. Iriola was their best ever points for his finish, and he retains almost the entire squad, with Unai an upgrade over, for example, Keith Moore, who they had last year as well. So there's no reason they can't compete again. In 16th, I've gone for Forest. Forest stayed up following a points deduction, securing safety on the final match day. So as long as they're not docked again this season, they should be able to maintain their Premier League status again under Nuno. But moving on into 17th, back in the Premier League after 20 years, Ipswich. There'll be a popular pick to go down, but Kieran McKenna's done such a great job. He had interest from some of the top teams, and the fact he still stayed with them says a lot. And I think, yeah, they've got such an exciting project there, and I don't think they will go down. In 18th, so I'm going to say Brentford. The Bees' luck will run out at some point. They stayed in the Premier League longer than most expected. And for me, yeah, their squad just seems a little bit light. for me this season. So unfortunately I can see Brentford taking a drop this season. In 19th I've gone for Leicester, back with the big boys after one title winning season in the Championship. Leicester's facing severe points deduction, which could really harm them. For a squad that's gotten only a little better in the summer, such a penalty could prove fatal. And in last place I'm gone for Southampton. The Saints also come back a year on from relegation, but even with a whopping 15 new signings, that probably hasn't improved enough from the team that finished 4th in the Championship. And yeah, it looks like it could be a long season with a poor squad for Southampton.
Anyway guys, that's it for this video. Thanks very much for watching. Remember to like, share, subscribe, follow us on our socials, link in the description below for daily football news, meme and content. Subscribe to our other channels on screen right now, that'd be greatly appreciated. Thanks very much for watching. Peace out.